Have you ever noticed how the absolute most painful parts of life usually start with something completely outside of your control? I mean, think about it. A sudden shift in your career, a relationship dynamic that just flips out of nowhere, or, a brand new technology that suddenly makes your hard-earned skills feel totally obsolete overnight. Change is external. It just happens to us. But as Psychotech strategist Anupam Sharma perfectly captures in this incredibly powerful quote, adaptability is internal. So think about that for a second. How do you actually react when your world turns upside down? I mean, let's be honest, most of us have a default setting, right? Maybe you panic, maybe you dig your heels in and just resist out of pure fear, or maybe you're the type to just wait, cross your fingers, and hope things magically go back to normal. But the truth is, that default rigid response, it's costing you growth, peace of mind, and some massive opportunities. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we are unpacking a complete masterclass on exactly this topic, and we're drawing from Anupam Sharma's brilliant framework, Adaptability at 360 Degrees, the Strategic Mind Superpower. We are going to completely flip the script today. We're going to take adaptability and transform it from a desperate survival mechanism into your absolute greatest strategic advantage in an unpredictable world. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. Defining true adaptability, the adaptability equation, the emotional engine, frameworks for strategic action, and finally, daily habits and mindset. Starting right off with Section 1, defining true adaptability, moving from passive to proactive. So a lot of people mistakenly think being adaptable just means passively going with the flow, like you just accept whatever happens. But look at the actual difference here. When faced with job uncertainty, a rigid response is pure paralyzing fear. You just freeze. But the adaptive response, that's proactively building alternatives. When a failure hits, the rigid mind totally spirals into self-blame, while the adaptive mind extracts the learning. So ask yourself, which side of this do you usually fall on? Because the goal isn't just to get comfortable with change, it's to become highly competent because of it. You see, true adaptability isn't just one single personality trait you're either born with or not. As Sharma defines it, it's really a combination. It's awareness, plus emotional control, plus flexible thinking, plus intelligent action, and finally, continuous learning. An adaptable person doesn't sit there crying, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they step back and ask, okay, what exactly has changed, and what is my next intelligent action? And that brings us perfectly into Section 2, the adaptability equation. Let's look at the actual math behind this mindset. Now, this is so brilliant. Sharma takes what is typically seen as this fuzzy, abstract, soft skill and literally breaks it down into a concrete, measurable formula. A equals C times E times T times A times L. It is hard math for a soft skill, and it makes finding your own personal blind spots so much easier. Let's break down exactly what those variables are. C is clarity, knowing what's actually happening in reality without the fluff. E is emotional regulation. T is thinking flexibility. A is action, and L is learning. Now, because this is a multiplication equation, here is the really surprising, almost scary reality. If just one of these variables is extremely weak, the entire equation fails. Like, you could be incredibly intelligent with perfect clarity, but if your emotional control is a 0, your adaptability completely crashes to 0. Or if you have incredibly flexible thinking, but you take absolutely 0 action, well, that's just intellectual entertainment. True adaptability absolutely requires thought translated into behavior. Which leads us to Section 3. The emotional engine, where we really need to talk about managing that internal reaction. Let's just be real and empathetic for a second here. When unexpected change happens, it is terrifying. It's completely overwhelming. It creates massive uncertainty and immediate resistance. But the huge mistake we make is believing we have to somehow completely eliminate those feelings before we can act. You don't need to eliminate the emotion, you just need to regulate it. And you can do that using the STOP reset. First, stop your automatic reaction. Just pause. Do not immediately send that angry email or make a huge life decision in a total panic. Second, take a breath to create a literal gap between the event and your response. Third, observe what you're actually feeling. Just name it. Is it fear? Is it anger? Maybe embarrassment? And finally, proceed intentionally. Ask yourself what response will actually produce the best possible outcome here. This incredibly simple sequence transforms raw, messy emotional reaction into vital emotional information. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 4, Frameworks for Strategic Action. Now that we've got the emotional engine under control, how do we actually turn that thought into tactical behavior? Whenever the unexpected hits, you can immediately lean on the ACT framework. First, accept reality. And I want to be absolutely clear on this point. Acceptance does not mean approval. You do not have to like what happened. It simply means you've decided to work with current reality rather than wasting your precious energy denying it. Next, calculate. What actually changed and what is within your control right now? Finally, transform your response. Decide what you need to stop doing, what you need to start doing, and what your absolute smallest useful action is in this exact moment. Another fantastic tactical tool is the OODA loop. It stands for observe, orient, decide, act. First, you observe what's happening in your environment. Then you orient yourself to what it means for you specifically, you decide on a response that makes strategic sense, and you act. Then, and this is the absolute key to the whole thing, you immediately observe the results of that action. It's a continuous repeating cycle. This is incredibly important because it completely prevents that dangerous toxic pattern where we react emotionally, make a stupid mistake, stubbornly justify the mistake, and then just repeat it over and over. But remember, the most strategic form of adaptability actually begins long before the change ever happens. You should be proactively building 3 plans. Plan A is your current strategy, the primary goal. Plan B is your alternative strategy if things shift. And Plan C is your emergency response, the break glass in case of fire option. When you build these out ahead of time, you create vital psychological flexibility. You stop being so anxious because you know deep down, hey, if circumstances change, I can just change my response. Section 5, Daily Habits and Mindset. How do you actually apply this starting tomorrow morning? Well, Sharma outlines this brilliant daily operating system to keep you perfectly sharp. In the morning, you prepare. You actively ask yourself what matters today and what could potentially change. During the day, you simply respond. When disruption inevitably occurs, you use those frameworks we talked about to pause, assess, prioritize, and then act. Then, in the evening, you learn. You reflect on what actually changed today, how you handled your emotions, and what you'll do a little bit differently tomorrow. This system actively turns everyday annoying little disruptions into serious adaptive intelligence. To really accelerate this process, try implementing the 1-1-1 rule every single day. That is 1 new thing to learn, 1 assumption to question, and 1 specific action to improve your behavior or strategy. Think about the really exciting payoff here. If you commit to this for just 90 days, you've accumulated 90 learning moments, 90 questioned assumptions, and 90 distinct, concrete improvements. That kind of consistency produces a dramatically more flexible mind. It's literally a game changer. So the crucial point is how you speak to yourself when things get hard. You have got to stop saying, I can't handle this, or this shouldn't be happening to me. Instead, you must start asking, okay, what capability does this specific situation require, and what opportunity for improvement is hidden right here? That right there, that is the ultimate shift from being a passive victim to becoming a proactive, strategic learner. I want to leave you with this profound, total mic drop quote from Anupam Sharma. Adaptability is not surrender to change. It is the intelligent mastery of response to change. The most adaptable person isn't someone who never feels fear or never feels the pressure. No way. It's the person who controls exactly how they understand it, what they learn from it, and what they purposefully do next. When adaptability becomes a habit, challenges stop being things that just happen to you, and they start becoming the very tools you use to grow. Which leads us to one final provocative question. I want you to think about your life right now. Think about the disruptions, the uncertainty, the specific changes you are currently facing today. Based on everything we've just covered, what is your next intelligent action? Take these frameworks, apply them, and step right into the superpower of adaptability. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.